Natural hazards and climate change risks should not be a threat, but a challenge. Understanding and knowing the natural hazards and climate change risks means the ability to better underwrite the risks. And better underwriting of the risks means higher profitability. We have the ability to look forward to what is coming and to get ready in advance. Our geospatial experts read the landscape like an open book. Climate change, natural hazards. We transform them into data with the power to protect. With tools that look ahead and think about the future and make decisions with you, but based on data, we stand with you side by side. With our expertise, you can see where the world is heading, and you can understand what needs to be protected, because the better you understand natural hazards and climate change risks, the better you can create certainty. Intermap.
Dakle, ono što slijedi, Natural Hazards and Climate Change Risk Quantification. Dobila sam malu poduku iz češkog. Naime, sad ćete vidjeti je li moj izgovor dobar. Dakle, dolaze nam gospodin Vojčeh Hlavati i gospodin Richard Šalek. Was the pronunciation correct? Okay, here you go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this last part of today's presentation. So, natural hazards and climate change, whether we like it or not, we are facing them. And now, more than ever, it is important. And it is true that understanding the natural hazards and climate change risks means better profitability for the insurer, but not only for the insurers, but also for the financial services and real estate players on the market. What that means, profitable underwriting. If the insurer is capable to precisely quantify the amount of risks that is arising from the natural hazard and climate change, it can precisely find a way how to underwrite it to become profitable. On the other hand, from the reinsurance perspective, when the underwriter and the insurer knows the amount of the risk that arises from the natural hazard and climate change, the insurer knows how to reinsure, what the capacity is needed to reinsure. So if there is big risk, I need a big capacity. If there is no risk, because I know precisely where it is not, I don't need a capacity. And last, from the claim adjustment perspective, if the insurer knows what actually happened, he can fast and quickly adjust the claim according to what really happened. And this is on how it should be working. Because strong insurance market is a great protection pillar for every country, from the government, from the state. Because if something happens and we are facing these catastrophic events, the state needs to have a strong and healthy insurance market. And strong and healthy insurance market means that the insurers really understand the natural hazard and climate change. We are coming from the Czech Republic. We already have heard some message about Czech Republic. In the Czech Republic, there is no single insurer that would not be using the quantification tool for the flood before they underwrite the property and conclude the contract. Czech Association of Insurers came to the conclusion and orchestrated the model that the whole Czech insurance market agreed on a common approach on the flood insurance rating zoning, which is based on the whole national flood hazard maps that the market has been using more than 25 years. Since 1997 till today, and last year there were really big floods. Again in September, the market understands the flood and they realize the importance of having the quantification tools for precise quantifying the amount of the risk arising from the flood. But not only flood. In Croatia, other important natural hazards are arising today, so earthquake, landslides, other natural hazards that are relevant for the country, and this all can be quantified so that the market can behave profitably and cost-effectively. So understanding the natural hazards means that the insurer needs to see them in the geospatial context. And for that, we would like to inspire you and inspire the whole Croatian market how these tools, which tools could be utilized for the quantification during the whole portfolio life cycle, from underwriting through reinsurance to claim adjustment. My colleague, Vojtěch Hlavatý, will lead you through all this stuff so that you can see which tools might be also relevant for Croatian market. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the presentation.
So, good afternoon. I would like to talk mainly about the importance of quantification of natural hazards, both in the present and also in the future with respect to the ongoing climate change. The first topic is natural hazard maps in general. I will start with the natural hazards that are the major threats here in Croatia. First of all, river flooding. I mention an example highlighting the importance of flood hazard mapping. One of the most serious events of recent years was the disastrous floods which occurred in the Sava River Basin in May 2014, which led to 79 casualties and economic damages of about 4 billion euros. Specifically in Croatia, the rainfall in 5 days was almost 2 times more than the mean monthly precipitation for May. This event caused 3 casualties, 15,000 evacuated, and 38,000 affected people, with an economic damage of 300 million euros. The major damage was caused by dike breaches, specifically at Rajevo Selo and Račinovci, here in Croatia. And when we are talking about flood hazard mappings, on this middle right picture, you can see an example of how such flood hazard map can look like. Another hazard is an earthquake. Croatia is located in a seismically active region facing frequent earthquakes that threaten buildings and infrastructure, which requires strong building codes and preparedness. Very interesting is that only in the last 55 years, 7 major earthquakes were felt in this country. And also, there is a still ongoing activity, as you can see on the bottom right picture, which where you see the events in the last 2 years. The seismic activity in this region is caused mainly by the drifting of the Adriatic plate here in the Mediterranean. And on the top right picture, you can again see an example of earthquake intensity hazard map. Another 3 important natural hazards in Croatia are landslides, wildfire, and drought. Hilly and mountainous regions of Croatia experience a prevalence of landslides, often triggered by heavy rainfall, seismic activity, or human activities such like road constructions or mining, for example. Wildfires are a major seasonal hazard in Croatia, especially along the coast, spreading rapidly through dry vegetation in hot, windy conditions, and increasingly intensified by climate change, threatening ecosystems and communities. And Croatia faces also increasing drought hazard, particularly during summer months, characterized by prolonged periods of low precipitation and high temperatures that stress water resources for population, industry, and also nature, impact crop yields, and elevate wildfire risk. Again, there are some examples of hazard maps next to each of these three natural hazards. In general, natural hazards can be divided into three categories. First are acute meteorological hazards, for example, river flood, windstorm, but also hail, lightning, or wildfire. Chronic hazards include drought stress or heat and cold stress, and geophysical natural hazards include earthquake or landslide. All these natural hazards, as you can see, are for present-day natural hazard maps. And at the same time, except tropical cyclone and tsunami, the gray ones, all of these hazards are relevant for Croatia. However, also forward-looking natural hazard maps are very, very important in the context of ongoing climate change. Climate change is a process that is happening, and it's not just about rising some mean temperature. Climate change is more about changing the intensity and frequency natural hazard events. So that's why it's so important nowadays. Nature hazards, which are described by forward-looking maps, are divided to two categories: acute, for example, river or pluvial flood, and chronic, for example, sea level rise or drought stress. Again, all of these are relevant for Croatia. The important thing is that in contrast to present-day natural hazard maps, for the future, there is more maps for each natural hazard. Why? The reason is very simple. We can't predict just one scenario of the climate change in the future. Basically, we don't know exactly what the climate in the future will be like. So there are different climate change scenarios, so-called nowadays SSPs or shared socio-economic pathways. Basically, there is some optimistic scenario, something in the middle, and the pessimistic one. That's climate change scenarios, and we also have different time horizons which are used for natural hazard mapping. These different time horizons allow variable uses. For example, near time horizon can be used for, let's say, home insurance. Medium time horizon can be used for mortgages, and far one can be used for some long investments. So each of the time horizon has its own purpose. In order to interpret the hazard maps correctly, it's useful to understand the basic facts. Most of the natural hazards are based on some so-called return period. So the two essential terms are return periods and probabilities. There are two examples mentioned. What does a return period mean? 100-year return period of flood has a probabilistic interpretation as 1% chance of flood occurrence in any given year. Or a 475-year return period of earthquake means a 10% chance of earthquake occurrence within a period of 50 years. The crucial thing is that these all are only probabilities, not guarantees of when an event occurs. there could be, let's say, 3 100-year floods within 5 years. It can happen. The second thing is that different natural hazards are measured by different metrics, such like flood extent, depth and velocity, or earthquake magnitude and intensity, landslide susceptibility, average wind speed, or wind gust, or some number of days, for example, a number of days with extreme weather, like hot or cold days. The second topic is risk quantification analytics. I would say that this topic is more interesting for the insurers themselves, because it's about the tools that the insurers can use in practice. To quantify risk of some asset, is essential to locate the asset correctly. To do so, either single asset geocoding or bulk geocoding can be used. Available options then include either simple clicking on the site in the map or entering the GPS coordinates of the site. Then also rooftop or doorstep localizing of the house number if one knows the street address. And also finding the center point of some cadastral parcel, or drawing an industrial area or linear construction in the map, or selecting parcels of an industrial plant or agricultural land. This is useful mainly in the case of some extensive property, when it's even more accurate than using just simple coordinates or a single address point. So this feature is very important, mainly for some industrial areas. The next tool is this aggregation of property insured without exactly specified location, so-called flowers, and its weighted redistribution to administrative or postal areas. The crucial thing is that natural hazard data and risk quantification tools can be used during the whole life cycle of the policy, which means that insurers can these data and tools use along all this cycle, as the diagram shows. So mainly in underwriting or in reinsurance or claim adjustment. So one data, but many different uses. And now I will provide some examples of the use of the tools for natural hazards quantification. The first one are examples of the use of the tools in underwriting and reinsurance. The first one is uploading, geocoding, and analyzing custom portfolios, or analyzing the portfolios in accumulation in some user-defined radius. Then some terrain profile can be used to find local hollows or humps within a site, basically in every place. It's not just a flat area, but there are some elevation differences, which can take a great role, for example, in case of floods. There is also option to calculate the distance of site insured to the nearest professional fire stations. And down there are two key features, in my opinion. First of all, annual average loss calculation. Annual average loss is very important because it's something like the minimum which the policy should take into account to provide greater profit. And also very important is API, which means integration of natural hazard maps and risk quantification tools into insurers' software tools. This means that natural hazard quantification tools can be implemented into insurance companies massively. Basically, insurer doesn't need any special training in terms of reading the maps or doing some difficult analysis. He simply fills in the address or some coordinates of a site insured, and he receives quantification of some risk. And yes, then he needs to interpret the output correctly, but a lot of work is done without him himself. So API is very, very important. And here I provide some examples of the usage of quantification tools in claim management. Here is an option of near real-time check for disasters, which means that some National Hydrometeorological Institute providing nearly real-time data, and insurers can check if in a given site insured is some kind of natural hazard present or not. There is also option to work with historical claims or historical losses within a user-defined time interval and area. There is also option to route optimize the route among inspected sites insured, and estimating of total loss based on ongoing reported claims, which means that in a relatively short time after an insured event, in software you can see so far reported claims, and through some curve you can predict what the overall loss will be. These are the main tools for nature hazard and climate change risk quantification tools. So in conclusion, it can be seen that there are a lot of tools to quantification of natural hazards and climate change risks, and their usage lead to more profitable underwriting, reinsurance, and cost-effective claim adjustment. And I thank you for your attention.